5 months ago, this mandolin sent me to the emergency room, so I'm going to get redemption on the recipe that I wasn't able to finish. So, those of you who've been watching this channel for long enough know that 5 or 6 months ago, I had a little trip to the emergency room unplanned because of a mandolin. It was a potato dish, so we have some potatoes again, and we're going to get redemption. I cut the corner of my thumb off. Here's the little after shot. I'm not going to show you what it actually looked like, but it was on this very mandolin. It was the first time I had ever used this mandolin because my original mandolin was too flimsy to get the very long sheets of potatoes I needed for this recipe. So the very first day with that beautiful sharp mandolin, I went to the ER. We're also going to need a little clarified butter, so I have that off to the side. But I want to get redemption on this recipe. This is now the third try at it. The first try failed because of the mandolin. The second try failed because of the ER. So we're going to go back at this. We're going to peel some potatoes. Once they're peeled, I'm just going to throw them in the water so they don't oxidize. 2 or 3 potatoes should be enough. So once I get both of those done, I'm going to throw on my safety glove. We're also going to use the guard. I'll show you why I didn't use it last time, but step 1 is going to be always now put on the safety glove so I don't cut myself or lower the risk of cutting myself, and you should all do the same. We have a scale out there as well just to get the right amount of potato. And see, here's why I like using my bare hand, because you can evenly feel the pressure as you slide it down and get a nice even cut. What I didn't realize at the time, though, was when I was thinking I was holding my hand flat, I was actually curling my thumb down, which is how I nicked that trail thumb. But these first few slices I'm using just to get the thickness of the potato. That's perfect. I wanted a little thicker than that, but these will be fine for the base layer. And now I'm going to use the guard once I start really knocking these out. The only issue I have with the guard is that it kind of unevenly spreads the weight. So the side closest to my body is slightly thicker than the other side, just based on how the guard pushes down. You can try to even it out, but it's really hard to feel the pressure difference not using your hand. Now we're going to weigh these. We're looking for 280 grams. Once we weigh them, we're going to throw them back into water. I'll also link the original recipe video I saw below so you could follow them because I'm definitely not doing this justice. And now we're ready to assemble. Get those potatoes out, let them dry off a little bit. And now we're going to just start shingling these up. Lay the smallest piece down if you can do that. That's how they do it in the recipe. It's harder than it sounds because this took multiple potatoes, so the smallest piece was always kind of mixed. Lay a little bit of the clarified butter on it, and then give maybe 1/8 of an inch of overlap and just build straight up that way. And that's really all you need to do. After I got long enough, I definitely did not use all 280 grams. This was probably closer to 150, 200 grams. You just start rolling it. I was going to use a large 6 muffin tin. I actually wound up using a smaller one just because I couldn't get these as big as they did in the video. It's just my skill level or how this recipe worked, but I just wanted to knock it out and say I could do it, so I made smaller versions. Did not use the full 280 grams. But once you roll it up, it did roll fairly easily. You then cut it in half. That's how you get 2 portions out of each little potato roll here. But once you cut it, it's very hard to keep them together. One stayed together nicely, the other one really didn't. So the cut is the harder part for this, and then you want to kind of reassemble them after you cut them. Moving them onto a board where you have a little more friction is good, and turn them the direction of that inner circle, so the opposite way of the little tail. And then we're going to butter up a pan, that's just that clarified butter, and slide them right in. You want them to fit snugly, and that's it. We're just going to repeat that process. I'm going to make about 4 of these. That's all I had the patience for, and then that's what they should look like. Some are better than the other. One I'm really proud of. The other 2 are kind of weird, and then one's just kind of bad. But I just wanted to say I could make this recipe. I have no clue at this point how they're going to turn out, so we're going to top them with a little more clarified butter, and then we're going to cover them in tin foil and then put them on 2 baking sheets. You don't want the bottom to brown, so this will help insulate the temperature and make sure that they don't overcook on the bottom. Kind of like when you make that 1,000-layer potato, you get a little browning everywhere. You don't want that. So here we are after about 1 hour in the oven at 300 degrees. I got that toothpick to slide in perfectly, and now we're going to let these cool in the fridge for about 8 hours. And that is the final product. They're still kind of soft, which caught me off guard because I'm so used to the 1,000-layer potato and pressing it real tight that it turns into like a really firm brick. But to get these out, you could run them under a little bit of hot water, or if you want to have fun, just use a little torch, a creme brulee torch, and heat up the bottom, and once that butter melts a little bit, it'll release. But that one's pretty beautiful looking. I'm going to release these, I'm going to throw them on a plate and just keep them in the fridge or the freezer, whichever you prefer, until we're ready to cook. I'm just going to cook these one at a time, so I just have a small pot here. It has oil about 3/4 of the way up, and it's at around 325 degrees. We're cooking at a little lower temperature because these are thick, so you don't want them to burn on the outside while the insides haven't cooked fully or warmed up. But here we are after about 2 minutes. In total, these took about 5 minutes. The larger ones would probably take 8 minutes. Sped that clip up. It was cool to see it go around in circles of the pan, so I was like, I'll get a little artsy with the shot here. But this is right around 5 minutes. That's exactly what I'm looking for. You can see the oils kind of seep between the layers. Everything is nice and golden brown. So we're going to now pull these out, throw them onto a piece of paper towel to drain the oil. There's a lot of oil in the nooks and crannies, but I'm going to hit it with a little extra clarified butter and then a little bit of some salt, and that's it. That's the full recipe. It kind of looks cool. I'm really kind of impressed with how this came out. I thought these were going to 100% fall apart, but you see those beautiful spirals. Everything stayed together. I didn't think I was going to be able to do this, especially since this is, attempt 3, 4, whatever, but they stayed together very nicely. Obviously, I want to taste it right now, but I'm calling that a redemption right off the bat. Cutting it down the middle just to look into it. It is fully cooked. You see those layers of potatoes. They're not pressed like they are in the 1,000-layer potato, so that is obviously different. Taste-wise, it's good. It tastes like a fried potato. The inner layers, there's a lot more unfried potato versus fried potato proportionally because of the oil just can't get in there, so these aren't worth the time and the effort. If you want to put a little effort in, make the 1,000-layer potato. These are beautiful to look at, and I wanted to say I did it since it sent me to the ER, but these are definitely not worth your time unless you're looking for a really fancy-looking garnish, but I still have all my fingers, so that's good.